Welcome to the Port of Bremerton Report. I'm Cary Bozeman, and I'm the CEO of the Port of Bremerton, and I'm here with my good friend Char today, and we're going to talk about the progress the port's made in the last 6 months. Char, this is my 6th month on the job, and as you know, I'm pretty emphatic about setting some goals and sharing those with everybody and letting people know what we've done or what we haven't done. So today we're going to give you a progress report on the activities at the port. As I shared with the public, the port has 3 business activities. We run the airport, Bremerton National Airport, which has been pretty busy this year. We run 2 marinas, one in Bremerton and one in Port Orchard, and we run an industrial park where we've got about 950 employees working out there now. So this is a report on some of the progress we've made, and Char, I thought I'd go down it with you, and you can ask me questions about it, and I'll, share some answers with you.
And you have lots of check marks, and I know you like to do check marks as well.
I do.
So the first topic will be seed, because that one was huge, and how are you going to proceed with that?
Well, seed was originally an idea about starting an incubator business to bring in clean tech companies. And the port spent a lot of time and money trying to make it happen. And when I got to the port about 6 months ago, we were in the dilemma of trying to figure out whether or not we could afford to build the incubator building, number one, because it came in more expensive than we had planned and more money than we had. And second was, would there be clean tech companies that might want to use the facility? And the third was, did we have the money to program it, in other words, staff it? And I spent about 2 months doing an analysis with our CFO and decided that we couldn't afford it. And so we have decided not to go ahead with the building or the incubator building, but we have decided to go ahead and try to green the port, so to speak. And we have a staff person working on some ideas about how we become more sustainable, more environmentally friendly, because we have a lot of facilities, we have a big airport, we got water runoff. So we're starting to do some things that are kind of fun. We're going to put about a 4-acre pea patch garden in at as part of our industrial park. We're going to allow the employees that don't work for us, but that work for like Safe Boats and Electric Boat, to reserve their own pea patch, and we're going to let them grow vegetables. We're going to put some walking trails in, and ultimately in the next few years we're going to put an athletic field in. So things that help the environment, that let people enjoy their life while they're on the job, and those kind of things. So where the building has gone away, the idea of us greening the port and being more active in environmental good stuff is on our agenda. So we're moving forward.
Excellent. Well, next on your list is the Bremerton Marina lease out, and I know that's been a big one also.
That's a problem for us. It's a challenge. We built this world-class marina along with the help of all the great taxpayers out there, and the purpose of building it was there was this mayor of the city of Bremerton at that time that was prodding the port to build this new marina downtown, and as it goes, I'm the mayor and now I'm the port director responsible for it. But we got the marina, which brings a full marina will bring a lot of business to downtown Bremerton, just like it does to Port Orchard. And ultimately it will get full, but we got hit by the recession. There's no industry that's more impacted by this recession than housing and probably motor vehicles, motor homes, boats. Those aren't things that people are buying these days.
That's right.
And so we're really having to implement a real strong marketing plan to try to get whatever business there is out there to consider coming to our marina. And we originally had a 4-year lease out plan, and I think that's going to extend, depending on the economy, to 6. It's not something we're happy about, and when we don't lease out slips, we're not taking in income. So it's a problem. But the good news is that the debt on the marina will be paid off in 2012. And the tax that we had to put on the property owners will go away in 2012. So that'll be a good thing. So we'll have it paid off. We're going to keep working on a marketing plan to lease it out. It's going to be totally dependent on the economy coming back around and people getting back into boating. And I'm optimistic. You know, there aren't building many new marinas these days, so I'm optimistic that that marina will be full the next 3 or 4 years, and it'll be a wonderful place for economic activity downtown. So a challenge that we haven't met yet, to be honest with you.
The next one is associated with the marina. It's called a stramp, which is a new term for many of us that have heard it over the last few months.
Yeah, Tramp.
Stramp.
Combination of ramp and stairwell. We just bought the property down on Washington Avenue across from the Hampton Hotel. And we bought it to protect our marina because we needed the parking. And we're all part of the stramp. There was always an agreement that someone would build this rock walkway between the Harborside condominiums, which are there now, and whatever was going to go next door to it. Was part of the city's agreement and land use. And so now that we're the stewards of that land, we're able to build it because Norm Dix got us a $400,000 grant to build this thing. And so we've retained the good judgment of Gary Sexton, the Economic Development Director for the City of Bremerton, and we're now under construction. And what this will be, it'll be a really nice plaza with 3 plazas and lots of, as you know what Gary does, lots of trees and lots of landscaping, and the public can access the waterfront from Washington Street down the Stramp and then down to the boardwalk, to the Mentor boardwalk.
Will there be fountains?
No fountains on the Stramp, but there will be plazas for seating.
Great.
And there will be a nice walkway, and this isn't public yet, but we're even working on an idea of cleaning out the hill above the waterway there. We're working with the tribes on this project to see if we can make the shoreline more accessible to the public there.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's an exciting project we're working on, and I'm hoping that by Christmas this will all be done, and we'll have a little ribbon cutting, grand opening, and it's going to be great. So stay tuned for the Stramp, which is the new walkway connecting Washington Street down to the water. It's going to be pretty cool.
Well, that probably
Which
ties...
we don't have on the whole, if you think
You're
about it,
absolutely right.
all the way up Washington Street and all the way around, there's not a public walkway that takes you down to the water, right? So
You're
this will be the
absolutely
first one.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
The Stramp is directly connected to the Washington Avenue development.
right.
Tell us what you're doing there.
Well, what we're doing there is we bought this property for 2 reasons. One, we wanted to build a parking garage there someday, not for our parking, for our tenants at the marina. They need a place to park their car. And 2, we want to do a development in downtown Bremerton someday. Our real plan there is to put a project above ground and put the parking lot underground. And we're already talking to prospective investors, people that see this as a great piece of property in Puget Sound, which it is. I mean, it overlooks the marina. It's right between the Hampton Hotel and the Harborside condominiums. It's right across the street from Kitsap Credit Union. It's really quite a special piece of property. And so we've been talking to people about building a project there, and we're working. We'll have some, I'm sure in 2010 we'll have some announcement about a potential project.
A restaurant?
I don't know about a restaurant, but it'll be multi-use. There'll be housing in it. There'll probably be some retail in it, you know. But I've already talked to some interested people. So I think the port will develop a project in downtown Bremerton in the near future.
Excellent. The Salo building lease out, did I say that correctly?
You did. This has been a challenge for the port. We went into a public-private partnership about 2 or 3 years ago, and a private developer built a big building on our ground out at Olympic View. We call our industrial park the Olympic View because it does have beautiful views of the Olympics. And So we've had this big building, 25,000 square feet out there, and we're paying part of the price of this thing, and we haven't had a tenant. So we've been paying on it for about a year and a half, 2 years now without a tenant. So we really got after it this year, and I want to say Tim Thompson, our guy that's head of real estate now, really did a great job. And we competed for Electric Boat, who does this. A lot of people now do a lot of the work on our submarines around the world. And we won the competition, and they decided to locate their local company out here in our industrial park. So they're going to get out there. We're doing some internal TI stuff right now, and we hope to have them in the park by January, February. So that was a big deal. We still don't have all the building leased out, but we've at least got it off the majority of it off the books. Good. And getting some cash flow out of it. So that's good, and bringing more employees to the industrial park, which is good. Our goal at that really industrial park in the next 3 years is double the number of employees from 900 to 2,000. So we've got a big nut to crack.
Good.
Yeah, and those are good paying jobs. We're not talking about people slapping hamburgers out there.
Right.
You know.
So you have also on your list development of a 3-year action plan that you worked on with the commissioners.
Right, and we finished it. And it's pretty simple. I mean, it says we're going to create more jobs. It says all our businesses, our 3 businesses, are going to become profitable. And it says that we're going to create more infrastructure for public use. In other words, enlarging our runway where we could bring in bigger planes maybe, or doing some park kind of stuff that the general public could use, or doing some infrastructure in our industrial park that might better attract companies. Industrial parks, if you go to them, I mean, some of them just look like neighborhoods. I mean, they've put in public amenities that employees can use during the day: walking trails, sidewalks, gymnasiums. I mean, if you go to, go to Microsoft, they've got a soccer field, and they've got a workout area, and they've got gymnasiums. Or if you go to, Nike has an incredible campus, So you need a combination, even in a light industrial where we're doing a lot of industrial work. It's got to be a combination of looking like a campus in some ways, so you can compete for the companies that want to locate there, because they don't want to locate in a place that doesn't look good, because they're going to be bringing their customers there. So they want to be in a place that looks good for business. And to be honest with you, our industrial park needs a lot of work. So we're going to upgrade that. We're going to continue to upgrade the airport. We're going to try to get more jet aircraft in there. We're going to produce more jobs, and we're going to do all those. That's a 3-year plan. It's not complicated.
Right.
It's just we got to get after it.
Pretty basic.
Yeah, and hold people accountable for their performance. It's not different than what we did at the city. We had downtown was the key thing. We knew what we needed to get done. We identified it. It was a 5-year plan. I'm not doing 5-year plans anymore. 3. And the older you get, the more your planning scope narrows. So yeah, we got a 3-year plan, and we're working on it, and it's going good.
Good deal. How about the CrossKey connector construction?
Yeah. Well, as you know, Skia used to be. We're going to rename that someday. That's now been annexed in the city of Bremerton. And Skia is the biggest parcel of land zoned for light industrial probably in the state. It's almost 3,000 acres. But it's kind of not connected north to south. You have to kind of drive way around. And you got to drive way around by Paulsbo, and then you got to go up by McCormick Woods and then around. So in order to, because it's such a big piece of ground, we needed a road to kind of go across the Skia area, which will allow for more development along the road with new lighting, all that kind of stuff. So we were able to get a nice grant from the federal government, a stimulus money, $3 million, and Fred is in charge of this. He's the director of our airport, and we're under construction. Now, we only got enough money to build phase 1, which is about, I'm going to say 1.5 miles or something like that. And then we're going to build phase 2. Hopefully next year we'll get some more money to do phase 2. So it's going to take us 2 or 3 years to get this done. But it's been on the planning board for a long time, and when we build it, we'll turn it over to the city of Bremerton, and it'll be a Bremerton street.
Excellent.
And hopefully they'll maintain it for us.
I bet they will.
Mm-hmm.
Next one is huge, and I know you've really been working on this with your new staff member, Scott Ware, and that's the communication plan.
Yeah. Well, two things I've learned about ports is that most people don't understand what they do, and they're taxing authority, so people pay the taxes, and they're never quite sure why there is a port, why we need a port, why am I paying the tax, what benefit do I get out of any of this? Those are all good questions. And ports of, unless you're the Port of Seattle or you're the Port of Tacoma, where you have these visual, big, huge boats coming in, these shipping ships that come into your port every day. And then you have SeaTac Airport. People kind of understand what that's about. But for most of the other ports, and there's 70 of them in the state of Washington, ports were developed by the state to create economic development. They were developed to create commerce. They're the only government, special purpose government, that's developed for this one purpose, which is creating commerce, which creates jobs, which helps the economy, which helps schools, which helps hospitals. So like the city is a multi-purpose government. I mean, you got to provide Medic One and police and fire and public safety and street. We have one purpose, and that's commerce, jobs. So we have the authority to build airports. We have the authority to build industrial parks. We have the authority to build marine-related businesses. That's kind of the authority the state gave us. And so our purpose is to create jobs. So what we've been trying to do is communicate that to people so they at least understand. And we've been doing it with newsletters. We started the old newsletter, that I love. And we do BCAT, this show, where we try to do it. We've sent direct mail already. I think we've sent 2 direct mail pieces to every one of our ratepayers. And now we're doing public, we call them workshops out in the community, public meetings. We've done 2. We're going to do 1 more this year. We had a meeting in Seebeck, and it was, lots of good questions, lots of interest by the people. We had a meeting in Paul's Port Orchard, and we're going to have a meeting in Bremerton as we speak. I don't know when this is going to air, but we're going to have it sometime in November, sometime in the end of November, at the Sheridan Community Center. So the dates will be, they're on our website and so forth and so on. So, and for some people they say, well, I don't have a job at the port, or nobody in my family does, or anything like that. But we all benefit from increased economic opportunity in our communities, if people are working and they're making a living, they're paying their taxes, they're paying school levies, good things are happening. So, I mean, if you live in our district, you should be benefiting, if we're doing our job, from the activities of the port. If we're creating jobs and commerce, and I think we're doing that. So, thank you for asking that question, though. That was my Port 101 for today. And a lot of it I'm learning myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the port is going to pull out of the Norm Dix Government Center.
Yeah.
You had a small office space up there by Norm Dix office.
We did. The port, before I got there, thought that when they were putting together the Norm Dix Center, the concept was that we'd build this wonderful building downtown, and it would house a multiple of government agencies. So you could go into the Norm Dix Center, you could go to the health department, you could go to the housing, Bremerton or Kitsap housing department, you could go to City Hall, you could go to a variety of government agencies, and the port felt like they wanted a presence there. And that never worked out. Our offices are at the airport, and that's where they should be, even though I feel a little isolated out there once in a while. It's not like being in the middle of the hub anymore. But anyway, we weren't making good use of the space. So the decision was made, let's try to sublease it out, and we've been able to do that. So we won't have a presence in the Norm Dix Center anymore, although we still use the Norm Dix Center for our port meetings, as you know,
right.
BCAT. BCAT televises our port meeting, so we're still there 2 times a month, and we still will be holding meetings there and doing all that kind of thing. I love the Norm Dick Center.
It's a great building.
I think it's a great building, and you know, but anyway, this was a financial decision, and we're going to move on.
The next one is to fund your fund adequately the reserves in your general fund. So how's that?
Yeah, the
going?
port at one time, before I got there, unfortunately, had a really healthy reserve into the multi-millions of dollars. And that isn't right either, to be holding people's tax money without using it for some good purpose. So the decision was made to build some facilities out at the airport. And they built what they call the Avion Air Center, which is now leased out by a variety of people that work on airplanes, that give flight instruction, and so forth and so on. As a matter of fact, there's a company coming in there that are going to do experimental work on a piece of machinery that goes on an MD-80, which is a big jet. And they're going to be flying that big jet, which I think holds a couple hundred people. They're going to be flying that into our airport here in a couple of weeks and leaving it out there for testing. And it's going to be mind-boggling, because it's going to come in there and make some noise.
It's going to make noise.
And people are going to go, wow, what is that? And but anyway, that's what this company does. And we've got a big enough runway to handle an MD-80. And so these are big jets. And it'll be fun to watch in there. So anyway, go back to the general fund. So we spent most of our money on improvements to the airport. We built some condominium hangars for people that own airplanes, and they rent our hangars, and they're all rented out. And we upgraded some facilities. So now our reserves are down pretty low. So the idea was to, just like when I came to the city of Bremerton, you know, our reserves were pretty low. And so we started this year. We're putting $250,000 back in the reserve fund and starting to build it back up for that rainy day when you never know that you might need it, or an opportunity, more likely that an opportunity would come along, and you'd be able to respond to it because you had money. So, you know, we want to be able to, if there's a deal, if there's something that we don't want to pass up, we don't want to have to go borrow money. It's just like anything else in life. So, yeah.
Well, the last one on the list is repaving the runway, which again is tied to your airport. And I have a question for you before you go. Was it surprising to you to find out how many people in this area own airplanes? Was that surprising?
No, I think
there's a lot.
There's a lot, and we've got 200 owner airplanes out at our airport, and you know.
Let's go fly to Long Beach for lunch, or let's go up to the
and you know, on a
San
nice
Juans.
day, you can't believe the number of airplanes that come in. These are general aviation prop jobs, mostly 2 or 1 single prop, and they'll fly into our restaurant just being out recreating in the day. So some people like to own a big boat, some people like to own an airplane, and there's just a lot of people that love to fly. And I ain't one of them, by the way. But they
don't picture yourself taking lessons?
They love to fly, and they come in and out. And I think the economy is affected. We've got 2 vacancies in our hangar this year. We've never had any vacancies. Oh. So the economy is also affecting people buying airplanes and running airplanes, gasoline and all that stuff. But no, on a nice day in the summer, that airport is just hopping. I mean, planes are zimming in there and zimming out. And it's fun to watch. My office is right on the airport, and it's really fun to watch. But yeah, there's a lot of people on
Well, and the restaurant out there is really a nice restaurant, and it's great to go out there and have a meal and watch the planes go in and out. It's busy.
But you know what's amazing is how many pilots do that. I mean, we get pilots. They love, our little restaurant is famous for its fish and chips. And so pilots talk about the fish, let's go have fish and chips at the Bremerton Airport. I swear, I've talked to a lot of these pilots, and they fly over here and land here and go in and have fish and chips and take back off again. So we're famous for that. And hopefully someday we're going to rebuild that restaurant, and it's an old building, and we've got to kind of fix it up a little bit. But we slapped some paint on it this year and kind of made it pretty, but yeah, it needs fixing up.
So let's talk about repaving the runway.
Yeah, well, we're really proud of our runway. You know, we're a small airport, but we're not a small airport because we've got a runway that'll take almost any kind of plane except for a 747 or something like that, you know. We've got a jet runway airport, 6,000 feet long. So it's one of the bigger airports, bigger runways outside of SeaTac that there is in the region. Boeing Field, obviously. There's a couple others in the state that, you know, have a runway as large as us, but not many, unless they're the regular airports, you know. But for a small airport, we've got a big runway, and paving that thing is expensive. So just think about paving 6,000 feet. You know, the city of Bremerton, we're lucky we can pave, you know, 200 feet a year, right? So paving 6,000 feet is a lot of paving. So we were able to get a grant from the FAA this year, almost $5 million. And so fully funded, we had to match it with 5%. Fully funded. Fred, our airport director, did a great job. We're not quite finished yet. We've got to pass, you know, the inspections on a paving of a runway get down to the, you know, they got to be as flat as this table. I mean, no bumps, and you don't want to be taken off and hit a bump, right? That is not a good thing for an airplane. So that thing has got to be precision. So we're fixing up a few of the spots that still need to be leveled out, and then they put the scope on them, and but we're pretty close. We'll have it done by the end of the year. Our airport had to be closed. We closed half our runway, and then we closed the other half, so our pilots had to kind of put up with it, and but we're getting through it. It's a great project for the airport. And we won't have to do it again for another 15 years.
Nice.
So it's going to be great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I will let you close, and
right.
let's hear a little bit about what you think is going to happen for you in 2010 at the port also. Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is all those things that we want to get better on, we're going to work harder at. You know, the big thing is attracting new companies to the Kitsap County. The big thing is trying to find private companies that have good jobs that want to move to Kitsap County. We're going to be very active in that role. We're going to be heavy recruiters of people who, for some reason, think being in Kitsap County would make sense. So, you know, I would say of all our priorities, that's number one. Number two is we're going to try to figure out a way to be more competitive in the jet aircraft business, especially corporate and private jets. We have a lot of corporate jets that land at our airport that come here for a variety of reasons. I mean, Costco comes in here all the time, and Target has a jet, they come in here. And then the military brings their jets in here. We got big brass flying in here from all over the place. And we don't have a facility to work on jet aircraft, so we need to build a jet aircraft facility. So we're working on that. We got a grant that we think we might be able to get. So attract jobs, increase the jet activity at the airport, lease out the marina. That's what we're going to do in 2010. All right, I want to again thank you for watching the Port of Bremerton Report, and I'll see you next time.